I wanted to do this story. I read this the other day in the Gazette, and I thought, okay, this is one of those stories that we have to address because typically these are the stories you do when there's a new year. So people make a plan, they go to the gym, they do that for 30 days, and they fall off the wagon, and that's the end of it for another year. Now, my girlfriend, I call her my wife, is a personal trainer, so she knows all about this stuff, and she will tell people who start training with her, for example, you can train as hard as you want, as long as you want, but unless you change your diet, it's all for naught.
I don't want to hear that.
But that's the first rule, because a lot of people say, well, I'll just work with a trainer and then I can eat whatever I want. As long as I'm working hard and doing what I want to do, it doesn't matter what I eat. And that, of course, is a complete fallacy. And this study says that exact same thing. But the reason I bring it up, it's a very wide-ranging study. Jill Barker wrote about this in her column in the Gazette. She's on the line. Hi, Jill.
Hey, how you doing?
Pretty good. How are you?
Very good, thank you.
So when I say wide-ranging study, I'm not kidding, right? We're talking about almost 350,000 subjects?
Yeah, 350,000 subjects from the UK. So that's a pretty good cross sample of adults between the age of 40 to 69. So, and they, were pretty average in terms of the amount of physical activity that they loved. So they're pretty good reflection of you and I.
Okay, so 40 to 69, pretty big sample, as I said.
Yeah.
And this was done, what was the idea in doing this was to determine what?
Yeah, to see if exercise could be protective of a poor diet and vice versa.
Okay.
So I think I started the lead saying, we've all kind of had a great workout and then think that we can dive into a bag of chips or, a pint of ice cream.
I'm not looking at you. I'm not looking at you. I'm not.
Jill, he's
honestly,
staring
I'm not.
right at me.
I don't mean to be.
With impunity.
Yeah.
And, that's not the case.
La, 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 I can't hear you.
So they do this massive study, and they determine that's in fact not what you can do because diet turns out to be as or more important, I think perhaps even fair to say, than just the working out. They go hand in hand.
Yeah, they go hand in hand. So you can't kind of excel at one and fail at the other. So, if you really like to exercise, but you also really like fast food, you can't kind of dial up the exercise to make up for your love of fast food. What you really need to do is, follow a good diet and follow a great exercise plan, and you're going to be as healthy as you can be.
Okay, so I have heard that depriving yourself, though, of things that you really want actually makes you have kind of an unhealthy relationship with food. And so you'll end up sort of eating more of it or binge eating stuff that's bad for you. Is it all about kind of moderation here, Jill? Like allow yourself those indulgences, but not every day?
Yeah, I mean, they qualified a good diet. They didn't give a lot of information of what that exactly was in the study. But, it's the general eat lots of fruit and veggies. It doesn't mean you can't have the ice cream. I think we know kind of having those indulgences is fine. It's just like the whole idea is, I'm training for a marathon. I can put whatever in my mouth because, I'm so fit. Or I'm so fit, or, that type of mentality really needs to have a switch.
Aren't there some people who kind of can almost do that, though, who exercise so much and they have such a crazy metabolism that they can allow themselves to eat whatever they want?
Well, I kind of think you're mixing up, the shape of somebody's body. So you're saying, hey, they can eat whatever they want and stay slim.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And I don't think that's what this was looking at.
Right.
This was really looking at mortality. So, the people with the best diet and the best exercise routine had the longest life.
That makes sense.
So that's what it was looking at. And they're saying, hey, you can't have a great exercise routine and a poor diet and still, have your best, longest life.
So, as you look at the rest of this, because part of the other results here, and this is always one of those questions you kind of try to understand, like how much do I have to work out for there to be a benefit here? They looked at that as well, right, in terms of time spent.
Oh, yeah. And that was kind of, for me, the scariest part of
me too.
What
these
they
numbers.
Found out. Yeah, those were huge numbers, and I'm sorry, I'm just scaling through. I think
211
it's 211 to 450 minutes of moderate to vigorous exercise a week. So that's a lot of exercise.
So let's do the math real quick. 210 minutes at the bottom end over 7 days. That's about a half an hour a day every day for a week. That's a lot.
Well, that's like 150 would be what, 30 minutes, 3 times 7. So, yeah. So you want to make sure that now we're talking about moderate to vigorous exercise a week, of which walking fits in there.
Okay.
Right?
Well,
so
that's good.
Don't always think that, exercise has to be in the gym with Lycra on and a full bead of sweat running down your face. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about exercise. I always say it's like, if you can hear yourself breathe, you're exercising.
Okay.
So it's not a stroll through the mall, but it is a purposeful walk. So I think those numbers are doable.
Okay. Again, so if you incorporate and you say that walking, if you're doing a brisk walk, for example, suddenly that doesn't seem so bad. If you do a brisk walk, even on a treadmill or something like that for 15 or 20 minutes and do another 15, 20 minutes in the gym with resistance training, you're basically getting what they say works.
Every day.
Well, but if that's at the bottom end.
Bits add up, right?
Right.
So it just means you're going to do 10, you're going to find 10 extra minutes here and 10 extra minutes there. I always say, don't always go for the shortcut. Take the long route.
Yeah.
It actually pays off in the long run. So don't overcomplicate it. Don't get freaked out with big numbers. Just try to, be more physically active every day. And one of the easiest ways is, the same old stuff, walking more, taking the stairs more, trying to fit those short bursts of activity into your day.
Yeah, I will point out the one thing I found interesting in the column. It says it's worth noting that those with the healthiest diets, also had a 14% lower risk of cancer mortality.
That's interesting.
Yes.
Wow.
So, I talk mainly about exercise more than diet, but diet is a very strong predictor of health, right? And I think we all intuitively know what a good diet is, but an excellent diet is probably a little more veggies than we normally do, a little more fruit than we normally do, and a little less of those empty calories. That the extra sweet treats. A little less of those, and you're starting to get into that, good to very good diet category.
So
again, doable.
Yeah.
I have a question, Jill, about, we're talking about trying to find those minutes of exercise. I also remember having heard or read at some point that you need to kind of have 10 minutes in a block together. So, I'm thinking about, if you take the stairs rather than the elevator at work, or you walk to the corner store rather than hopping in the car, do all those little bits add up, or you need to kind of focus on having a 10 to 20 minute chunk of time together?
Well, with exercise, there's exercising for health, and there's exercising for fitness, and there's exercising for performance. So when you're talking about exercising for health, which again is what this study was looking at, any little bits, they all add up.
Okay.
Right? So those 5 minutes, those extra rounds of stairs, and besides, once you start doing that, not taking the shortcut, you're going to find that you're going to build in 15, 20, 30 minutes of extra movement a day, and that's significant.
And that starts to pay off as well. I think people, the hardest part obviously is getting started. Once you get started and you're sort of building up that 10 minutes to 12 minutes to it gets easier all the time.
Yeah, but then that's when I think I can have the poutine.
No, you can't. You can't. Or the chips. Or the ice cream.
Or the chips. Yeah.
On a weekend.
I'm sulking, Jill. You can't see my face, but I'm sulking.
No sulking allowed. Hey, Jill, thank you so much. Appreciate your time today.
My pleasure.
Take care.
Right.
Jill Barker,
Bye-bye.
who does fitness over at the Montreal Gazette. You know what? The idea, though, and you brought it up before, that whole idea of moderation, that's always the key, right? Mm-hmm. You want to have the chips? That's great. You just can't have them every time you go to the gym afterward as a reward. That's what it comes down to.
But I see that sense in that you have to have a healthy approach to things. Allow yourself those indulgences, but just, like we said, in moderation. But depriving yourself of those, it creates this weird obsession, right? Where you're like, chips. I just eat a handful of chips, man. And then
Can you eat just a handful of chips?
I can. I'm really good that way. Okay. I honestly am. I know and it bugs some of my friends.
And do you have that handful every single day?
No, I don't. Right. I try not to have chips in the house. And then when I'm craving them, I will have some chips in the house, and then I try and make the bag last.
So you
very
have this
much
under
the same
control.
Approach with wine.
You seem to have this under control then.
I mean, I do, but I don't have the exercise part under control. I need to be more active.
Easier to do now than ever before. You have a phone. You can follow classes on a phone. It's like you could never do this 10 years ago. Now you can. I see people doing this all the time. You put your phone on the ground. They give you the class. You just follow along.
I mean, I just got to get back on. I was able to take things for granted to a certain degree just because of how I'm built. But you reach an age where you just can't really do that anymore. So
anyway, if you decide to get a trainer, I know someone who's really good.